The fork hit the grass before anyone understood what was happening. "Drop it now." The voice wasn't loud, but it carried a kind of cold authority that sliced straight through laughter, music, and the smell of grilled meat. Conversations died mid-sentence. Children froze. Even the smoke rising from the barbecue seemed to hesitate. The man holding the fork didn't flinch. That was their first mistake. They saw a big man in a backyard, sweating over a grill surrounded by family. They saw soft edges, a slower walk, a laugh that came easy. They didn't see what he used to be. And by the time they realized it, it was already too late. Before we go deeper, think about this. If someone walked into your home and tried to break you in front of your family, how far would you go to protect them? Because this is the story of a man who was pushed too far, and what happened when the wrong people chose the wrong target. The afternoon had started like any other perfect day. Reggie Carter stood over his grill in the backyard of his modest home in Savannah, Georgia. The heat wrapped around him like a second skin, but he didn't mind. He moved with calm precision, flipping ribs, brushing sauce, adjusting heat zones like a man who knew exactly what he was doing. Because he did. "Give it 10 more minutes," he called out, not even turning around. "And if you're hungry now, that's your fault." Laughter rippled through the yard. His wife, Elena, shook her head as she arranged food on the table. "You've been saying 10 minutes for 20 minutes. "That's called patience," Reggie replied, "something this family clearly lacks." Their son Malik, 17 and tall like his father, rolled his eyes. "Or maybe you're just stalling because you burned the first batch." Reggie turned slowly, pointing the tongs like a weapon. "Watch your tone, boy. These ribs are a masterpiece." Their daughter Leela, younger and quieter, giggled from the grass where she sat with her friends. Everything felt right. Neighbors moved in and out of the yard. Someone brought dessert. Music played softly from a speaker near the porch. It was one of those rare moments where life slowed down just enough for you to notice it. Reggie noticed. He always noticed. Because there had been a time when days like this didn't exist for him, when peace was something distant, temporary, fragile. He had fought for this life, and he intended to keep it. That's when the patrol car rolled by. It didn't stop, but it didn't need to. Reggie's eyes tracked it instinctively. Old habits, details logged automatically, vehicle number, driver posture, speed. Then he forced himself to look away. Not today. Today was for family. The second car didn't pass. It pulled in. Gravel cracked under the tires. Music faded. Conversation slowed. That invisible shift, the one everyone feels but no one names, settled over the yard. 2 officers stepped out. Officer Blake Donnelly, Sergeant Kyle Mercer. Everyone in the neighborhood knew them. Not for the right reasons. Reggie set his tongs down slowly. He stepped away from the grill, placing himself between the officers and everything that mattered. "Afternoon," he said calmly. "Can I help you?" Mercer didn't answer right away. He looked around the yard like he was inspecting a crime scene. "Noise complaint," he finally said. "Multiple calls." "That's strange," Reggie replied evenly. "Most of the neighbors are here." A few people nodded behind him. Elena stepped forward with a polite smile. "Would you like something to eat? We're just having a—" Mercer slapped the plate out of her hands. It hit the ground with a wet thud. Food scattered across the grass. "We're not here to eat," he snapped. Everything changed in that moment. You could feel it. The line had been crossed. Reggie didn't move. But something inside him shifted. "Let's keep this respectful," he said quietly. Mercer stepped closer. "Too close. You telling me how to do my job?" "No," Reggie replied. "I'm asking you not to escalate something that doesn't need to be escalated." Blake laughed under his breath. Mercer's lips curled. Then came the shove. Fast, hard, meant to provoke. Reggie stepped back, absorbing the impact. Behind him, Malik surged forward. "Dad!" "Stay back," Reggie said sharply. His voice didn't rise, but it carried something else. Control. Absolute control. Mercer smiled. That was his second mistake. "You people always think you're special," Mercer muttered. "Big house, big party, forget where you belong." The word he used next didn't belong in 2026. But he said it anyway. And the world seemed to hold its breath. Elena stepped forward. "That's enough." The slap echoed across the yard. Time didn't stop. It snapped. Reggie moved. Not like a man reacting. Like a system activating. Blake reached for his weapon too slow. Reggie's hand intercepted, twisting, redirecting. The gun dropped. Blake hit his knees, shocked. Mercer swung his baton. Reggie stepped inside the arc, redirected the force, locked his arm. Controlled. Precise. Efficient. "Stop," Reggie said. Not loud, but final. The yard exploded into noise. Phones recording. People shouting. Children crying. Mercer struggled, but he wasn't winning. Because the man he thought he was dealing with didn't exist. Reggie leaned closer. "Everything you've done," he whispered, "is on camera." Sirens approached. Vast. Reggie released him. Raised his hands. And waited. The arrest was brutal. Not because of what Reggie did. Because of what they needed the story to be. By nightfall, the headlines were already spreading. Violent suspect attacks officers. Former soldier shows dangerous behavior. Community shaken by aggression. They edited the truth. Cut the beginning. Showed only the reaction. And suddenly, Reggie Carter wasn't a father defending his family. He was a threat. Elena watched it all unfold from their living room, her cheek still bruised. "They're lying," Leela whispered. "I know," Elena said softly. But lies spread faster than truth. Meanwhile, Reggie sat in a cell. Alone. Still. Thinking. He had seen this before. Different place. Same strategy. Control the narrative. Destroy the target. But they didn't understand something. He wasn't just a man with a past. He was a man trained to survive when everything turns against you. Days passed. Pressure grew. Threats followed. A brick shattered their window. A note came with it. "Drop it or else." That's when the fear turned into something else. Resolve. Then came the break. A nervous insider. A hidden drive. Footage they thought was gone. But wasn't. The truth in full. When the video played, everything changed. The shove. The slur. The slap. Clear. Undeniable. Unedited. The courtroom went silent. Then exploded. Charges dropped. Investigation opened. Officers suspended. But it didn't end there. Because people like Mercer don't just lose quietly. That night, Reggie's house burned. Flames swallowed everything. Memories. Photos. The life they built. But not the family. They made it out. Barely. Standing in the street, watching everything they owned turn to ash. Reggie didn't cry. He didn't shout. He just watched. And something inside him came back. The part he buried. The part he promised never to use again. "You picked the wrong family," Elena whispered beside him. He nodded. They had. And they were about to learn exactly how wrong. What followed wasn't chaos. It was precision. Evidence surfaced. Files uncovered. Patterns revealed. Corruption exposed. Not just Mercer. Not just Blake. But an entire system. Names. Payments. Hidden complaints. Years of abuse. All brought into the light. And when it finally broke, it broke everything. Arrests followed. Trials followed. Truth won. Months later, Reggie stood in a new backyard. Grill smoking. Family laughing. Stronger walls behind him. Stronger people beside him. Malik stood next to him this time, holding the tongs. "Don't mess this up," Reggie said. "I won't," Malik replied. A pause. Then, "Dad, were you scared?" Reggie looked at him. Then at his family. Then back at the grill. "Yeah," he said quietly. "Every second." Malik frowned. "Then how did you stay calm?" Reggie smiled slightly. "Because being calm doesn't mean you're not afraid." He flipped the ribs. "It means you don't let fear decide what happens next." Across the yard, Elena watched him. This time, no one interrupted. No sirens. No threats. Just peace. Earned. Protected. And never to be taken lightly again. Because some people think strength is loud. Aggressive. Explosive. But real strength is knowing exactly when to hold back. And exactly when not to. And the people who came into that backyard, they learned that lesson the hard way.